With plenty of focus on Donald Trump's frontrunner status in the 2024 presidential primary, tomorrow's GOP primary in Kentucky could give us an early glimpse at what influence he continues to have over the party and whether the power of Trump's word or Trumpism holds greater sway over Republican voters. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron and former Trump UN Ambassador Kelly Craft lead the field vying to take on incumbent Governor Andy Beshear in what's expected to be the most competitive race of 2023. Trump has endorsed Cameron, but Craft has made up ground. Despite entering the race after Cameron, she's been hitting the AG over the airwaves with a bevy of attack ads. NBC's Dasha has the latest.
In Kentucky's hotly watched governor's race, the former president looms large for both frontrunners.
Daniel Cameron, the only candidate endorsed by President Trump.
Cameron agrees with the George Soros-backed DA who prosecuted Trump. That's not conservative.
Though Kelly Craft hails from the Trump administration as his former ambassador to the United Nations.
President Trump sent me to the United Nations, and what a snake pit that is.
It's her opponent, Daniel Cameron, who has the endorsement of her former boss.
Your opponent in this race was endorsed by former President Trump. Why didn't he endorse you?
I was not in the race, so there was no choice.
Cameron playing up that endorsement.
A desperate Kelly Craft falsely attacks Daniel Cameron. But you know what's really strange? Craft worked for President Trump, and Trump endorsed Daniel, not Craft.
While downplaying his ties to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell.
How has your association with Mitch McConnell influenced your political philosophy and your conservative convictions?
Well, do you recall when the folks were protesting on my front lawn?
Yes.
Did you see Mitch McConnell there?
No.
There you go. So I'm my own man.
You have been endorsed by former President Trump. You mentioned that in your ads, on your flyers. You also, though, have ties to Mitch McConnell, who's a longtime Republican, very powerful here in Kentucky and nationally. You don't mention that as much. Why not?
We're going to have to build a coalition that is large enough not only to win the May 16th primary, but also to beat Andy Beshear in November, and that is our ultimate mission.
The race becoming an early bellwether for Republican primary politics and a test for what message wins out with the base. Craft leaning into Republican attacks on so-called woke culture.
We're not going to have activists. We're going to have responsible children, and we're going to support our teachers.
Making controversial statements about transgender students in Kentucky schools.
Can you clarify your comments on transgender folks in schools?
What I'm saying to you is I do not want these ideologies, these woke ideologies, this sexualization. I do not want that upon our children.
Criticizing Cameron for not pushing back on the Justice Department's investigation into the Louisville Police Department after Breonna Taylor's death, which found that the department, quote, unlawfully discriminates against black people in its enforcement activities. Meanwhile, Cameron leaning into his record as Kentucky's Attorney General.
People recognize the work that I've done as Attorney General, and I've been standing up for their constitutional rights and their values since day one in the Attorney General's office.
While Kentucky went for Trump by 26 points in 2020, Governor Andy Beshear enjoys sky-high approval ratings, the Democrat winning over Republicans in his deep red state. The race the latest test of President Trump's influence on the GOP in 2023 and beyond.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.